Howdy this is Austin Lightfeather, Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, and Oklahoma Choctaw Nation. So in this video, what I'm going to do is tell you about LB 739 and how long it took me and a few other people on my team to get LB 739 passed. And what does LB 739 do? LB 739 started out as a movement from the 1990 American Disability Rights Act. From there was a lot of discrimination, a lot of bias, arbitrary judgment from judges, court systems against those who have autism and those with developmental disabilities, syndromes and disorders. Autism has spectrums of genius savant syndrome. Then you have medium range autism, and then you have lower functioning autism. LB 739 is a branch of a federal law that was passed in 2019 in February, on Valentine's Day, February 14th. The people behind LB 739 that had LB 739 passed in all 50 states, including Hawaii, 51. Hawaii is a province of the United States. LB 739 protects those with autism, developmental disabilities, also such as Down syndrome, those with mental health features, and those with severe mental health. LB 739 protects those with developmental disabilities or those with savant syndrome, genius spectrum disorder, in institutions, hospitals, and jails. LB 739 took 5 years for me to continue to fight for it to be passed. 5 years. A federal act is actually much harder to get passed than it is to get something passed in the United States Supreme Court District. It's much harder. And it takes longer for a federal law to get passed. The fact that I did it in half a decade is incredible. With the team behind me, which include Dr. Diane Marti, which really fights really hard and advocates those that have autism. She is a lobbyist in Washington, which I consider Washington, D.C., that's what I call it. I also lobbied in Washington, D.C. in 2019 of May for LB 739 after it was passed, for federal laws to continue to be looked at. I will give a link for you to review what LB 739 is. LB 739 is also a law that has features of laws adopted into it and ratified that actually coexist with my book. If you've ever read my book and then you read LB 739, you will see the contrast with the two and how they are alike. Not only that, but Senator Justin Wayne and Senator Tony Vargas had helped me on my advocacy and my journey with Dr. Marti, Diane Marti, a psychologist with a PhD in autism and other special needs caretaking abilities when she does evaluations and reviews. The fact of the matter is that LB 739 was passed. It is a major part of our society now. And court systems are still targeting those with developmental disabilities. I am under the criteria of a developmental disability because I have autism, but my autism is on the genius spectrum. However, in the federal guidelines, you must be 22 years old of age or younger to be diagnosed with autism before you could get developmental disability services as an adult. I was diagnosed in 1991, making me 3 years old because I was born in 1988. 88, 89, 90, 91. I was diagnosed at 3 in Highland, San Bernardino, California. I was then re-diagnosed when I was 7 by a doctor, named Dr. Stephen Payton, who no longer works for the Mental Health Society or psychology or psychiatry, based on the fact that he had some health issues that took place, and he's a great doctor. He cared for me for many years and really put his best foot forward to help me obtain my DD services. I also had developmental disability services in Oregon, which I learned the infrastructure of how their hospitals are ran and how the mental health system is ran. Based on these attributes, it gave me the ability to form my story. LB 739 is a law that protects those when cops come or investigate someone with a developmental disability. If the police are called and there's a unit involved, it protects someone like me or someone like you that has autism from the police. You have to keep in mind that the police are city government, so they have to follow certain laws and guidelines. Even if they pretend to not know them, they have no choice but to follow them based on the principle of what is actual legality. The police only have legal authority based on the law passed in the Senate, the Congress, and districts of our society. Thank you.